Hey everyone, it's Jay again, and I'm back to talk about Miscrits. And I know that it's been a while since I've talked about Miscrits because the game shut down. The game no longer exists anymore, and that's really unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. However, if they ever did want to try and turn things around and make the game better still, because I do still think it's actually possible. I know you guys are thinking, no, it's not possible anymore, the game's sold, or excuse me, the game is down, they went bankrupt and they're gone. There still might be a way to save this game, because now, even though we can no longer play it, the people who worked in Broken Bolt Studios, even though the company, which I'm actually not sure if the company is even still running anymore, the company might be shut down as well. I know it went bankrupt, but let's say hypothetically that it's gone. Broken Bolt Studios is gone. They still own this game. Like, Miscrits still does exist. They still have the rights to it. So what I would do is I would try and sell it, if I were them, sell it to another company. I mean, it's basically a full game, and people, and it has a fan base. People want to play this game. In fact, if they did, I'd probably play it. I don't know how long, if they didn't make any updates to it, but I would at least play it a little bit. Now, selling the game to another company and putting it back on Facebook might not save it. Like, it would definitely be a start, but how many people want to play the same game over and over again with it that's not being updated? Eventually, you're going to get tired of playing it. And one of the biggest problems that I feel that Broken Bulb Studios had was basically they got desperate at the end. So, for those who don't know what happened, basically, Miscrits was going to create this big expansion. It's funny how the name off the top of my head eludes me. I can't think of the name right now, but I think it was Blightfall or something like that. And they were planning on having this huge expansion. They were going to add new elemental types. They were going to have a new map, stuff like that, and it was going to be like just new. Well, that fell through. It didn't go through, unfortunately. The guy who they had, like, one guy working on almost the entire expansion, and basically he was like, you know what am I doing all this for? I'm not going to give this to you. I don't really know all the details, and I don't want to pretend that I do, because I don't, but it was something along those lines. I mean, I'm being very general, and take this part with a grain of salt, because they may not be exactly what happened, but it's generally what happened. Basically, they had this expansion. This guy was almost done making it. They hyped it up. They announced it. They said, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming. And then it didn't come. Because the guy walked away. The guy who was making it went away. And he took all of his hard work with it. So, the first problem was they hyped this up too much. They put too much faith in this one guy who was working on this expansion. Now, they could have still saved it, in my opinion, because but instead of saving it, they made another mistake. They changed how the fighting works in Miscrits. Before, you could use the same attack over and over and over and over and over again. You had no limit to how many times you could use a move. Well, then they changed it, as you can see in this video here, to you could use a move once, like a round, and then you could not use that move again the following round. And if they didn't want that, that's completely fine. That is a change that I'm perfectly happy accepting, if it makes sense for this other skills, and it really didn't. They never changed the Miscrits to fit these new set of skills, and they realized that. So what did they do? They started releasing new Miscrits that you had to pay money for. You could get them other ways in the game that were pretty difficult to do, but they were random chance, like breeding, which I guess is not 100% random, but mostly random, and you were not guaranteed to get these new Miscrits, so you pretty much had to spend money to get the new Miscrits with the new skills, and they never went back, never, even till the game died, never went back and changed the old Miscrit skills. So that was another problem. They should have kept it there and tried to fix what was broken first, which was the hype. People were hyped about this new expansion. They needed to release something that the fans wanted, that people who were playing the game wanted. Now, what they probably should have done is, if they did want to kind of do this change, they should have released these Miscrits to be catchable. Because they did release a new area, the area where you could fight the giant, like, legs, if I remember correctly. Like, there were these, like, giant body parts on this island that you could fight, and they were like brothers or something, and you could go fight them. What they should have done is they should have added these new Miscrits catchable in this area before they released the update. And they didn't have to do many. In fact, they could have done it in a really fun way and done it once a week. And just like they were releasing them for money, but released them for free. But instead, they were worried about their income, which I perfectly understand. They were barely making it as they were, so they basically wanted to make as much money as fast as possible to save their game. And maybe they didn't have any other choice. Maybe there was no other option. That's what they had to do. However, I feel that they shouldn't have. They should have started releasing them for free before they made this new change. I did like the update of the Miscrit guy who was in the breeder's house, who, if you bought anything, he would give you a special reward for the next month. That was awesome and a really good addition, and I was completely cool with that. But they didn't do enough of that, where basically you could spend a small amount of money to get, even if it was a small reward, they could have, they totally could have said, hey, we're having trouble. Like, they totally could have, and because the fans will help a game that's out and that's hurting. If they love the game and they really want to play the game, and I was one of those people where I put money in this game. I put plenty of money in this game, and if I would have saw when you talk to the Miscritian guy, in the shop in the breeder's location, if he would have said, "Hey, we're having trouble," even if there was no reward, and they were just like, "We need help," I would have bought something. At least once, I would have bought something, and probably would have donated $20 or something. And I'm sure plenty of other people would have as well. So, let's jump back a bit. Let's jump back a year or two, before the guy who was doing Blightfall left, or whatever it was called. They realized that he was taking a long time. They realized that he was going to be a while. What they could have done, very simple, I think they could have done. They could have done it right here where I'm standing in the battle arena. That guy who's in the background there, as soon as this goes away, I don't know if I'm going to join a match or something. Hopefully not. Okay, I am. Darn. Well, behind here, there was a guy that you could talk to, and if they would have changed him to be a new type of arena match that was basically you refighting powerful versions of the NPC of all the elementals and Nox and Jins. I mean, that would have been awesome. That would have been super cool. Even like if they were like maybe they could have two different settings. They could have an easy mode, which was random, and or both could have been random. It doesn't really matter. But let's say for fun, let's say the first one was random, and it was you would fight an elementum that was maybe not as strong, but very close to the strength of the bosses, because let's say you weren't strong enough to defeat Nox, as a lot of people weren't, or they were, but it would take them 15, 20 minutes to do, or the Jins, which are even harder than Nox, although I heard that near the end of the game they changed Nox to be harder, but that's besides the point. Let's say, though, that they made them a little bit weaker so that you could do it, and they would give you, like, a lot of gold and 5 platinum or something like that. Like, they would give you, like, 15,000 gold and 5 platinum or something. There wasn't really a lot of... I mean, I had tons and tons of gold. There really wasn't a lot of things to spend gold on. So it would have been a cool way where people felt like they were gaining something. And maybe if you had, like, not level 35 Miscrits, you could even, like, gain, like, a ton of experience for it. Like, if you were like below level 28 or something, it'd be like a full level for your Miscrit. Or 30, it'd be like half a level. It'd be something like really, really good, like a really big reward. And it'd be great nostalgia. A lot of fun nostalgia to refight these bosses. And there could have been like a harder mode where you got like gems as a reward. Not many. Like, it could have been something real small, like 5 or even like down to like 2. And people would do it. They would keep doing it and fighting the harder bosses. And I think it would have been awesome and really fun and really cool. So they could have done that to hold people over. But the biggest thing they should have done is they should have done a new type of Volcano Island update. They should have made a new area, different from Volcano Island, different from Sunfall Village, or Sunfall Kingdom, whatever you want to call it. Bring back Nox. Show his master, show who's the one who's been doing it. Maybe give Nox a redemption. Maybe show him that he has come to the error of his ways. Progress the story. Maybe maybe it could have been Blightfall, and now we're fighting blighted versions or stone versions of all the elementums or something, because they did the blighted and the stone, and there was also light and dark and all kinds of stuff that they could have hit on, and they could have talked about why some are petrified, that's what it was. Why some were petrified, why some were blighted, why some were light, why some were dark. And it could have talked about all these. And it would have been super, super cool. It would have given, like, me a ton to talk about. It would have given fans things to think about. I mean, and it would have been a really great thing to add on. Now, that's the biggest thing that they should have done. Little things they could have done that I think that would have helped is talk a little bit about the stuff we saw in the past, like magic. Where did magic go? I mean, they did kind of hint at it with the magicites, where magic does still exist. You're just evil if you use it, because you're technically using the elementums. Like, you're hurting the elementums and weakening all the Miscria when you use magic. But there's also other things, like there's this one Miscrit that's in a lighthouse. So they, people do use, like, these are people without powers, and they do use Miscrits for normal everyday tasks. And I wonder why that was never talked about. Like, it felt like they were going to very, very early when the game first came out. They were going to talk about this and never brought it up, ever. And that would have been kind of cool if they could have talked about. So, I still think this game could be saved. If someone right now from Broken Bowl Studios was working on a map update, and some, like 100 new Miscrits, or something like that, or 70 new Miscrits, or something like that, and a new evolution, go all the way up to 40, and make a new evolution, you know, add add something other than a relic, you know, like a new thing that only level 40s could get. Like that would be really cool. It would add a lot to it, and you know, I think it would be really cool. It would have been a really, really cool update. And it's sad that that's never what happened. That's not what they did. But anyway, I think I've talked long enough. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know if you guys want to make a Ninja Saga video talking about how I think that game could be updated to be a better game, because, man, does it really need it, in my personal opinion. To be honest, I think Miscrits can be saved. I feel like Ninja Saga would be a hard game to save, which is surprising because it's still up and running. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.